guys, and welcome back to the Who Cares Anyway podcast. We are live, and it is Friday night. Sound off who we all have in the chat tonight. I'm seeing a bunch of lovely, familiar faces already. Cool guy, I see you're in there. K-Wolf, I see you're in there. I see Nazario Montenegro, DJ Snacks from the Movie Trivia Face-Off League. How's it going, sir? Brian Nussbaum. And, of course, we also have my lovely panel here. Now, tonight, it's kind of a simpler show. We're talking some movie news, and then in the second half, we're counting down our personal top 5 Schmoedown matches of Season 6, 2019 season, because it's been a great season. And I can't wait to get into this further with you guys, but of course, I'm not here alone. I'm just your host, Chris Dohmen. And also with me tonight, I got Kees Cornelisse, the host of the Schmoedown Reactions. Kees, all right, come on, Mr. Meta, let me have it.
No.
Oh.
I'll let Nico do that. Hey guys, what's up? Yes, I am here to talk about movie news, to rant about some movie news, to be praising the Schmoedown this season because, as you said, it's a pretty awesome season so far. Also, there's Formula One this weekend, so yay. I know you guys don't give a shit, but I do, so yay. Even though I don't think he'll win. Hey, he won the last match, so that's something, you know.
I was going to say, if he won the last match, he's got a
race. It really depends on what circuit they're driving and if it's suited to the car, because the top teams all have different things why their car is good. But hey, I'm hoping for a good race. I'm hoping that he gets a podium or something, because usually when he does well, it's a more entertaining race. I've been also following Wimbledon. There are 2 big finals coming up this weekend, so that's going to be fun, especially after today, where, we had one of the most anticipated matchups with Federer versus Nadal. Federer won. Interestingly enough, I honestly didn't think he would, but he did. So he's going to face Djokovic in the final. For anyone who cares, probably no one, but it's called Who Cares Anyway, and I care.
I care.
I care, exactly. And let's just have a good show.
All right. And, of course, also on the panel, we have the Suave one himself, Nico Rigoli. All right, Nico, since Kees decided to give you the honor of giving me crap, please, sir, have at it. And how have you been this week?
I don't feel like I should give you crap because I honestly thought there was just a technical issue on my end. I didn't realize it was something you did. So
or didn't do.
Or didn't do. So it happens sometimes. Thankfully, it could have been worse. We could have been waiting for someone to join the call, and they ended up 5 minutes late. So that's happened before. But nevertheless, it's been a pretty good week, especially in the world of wrestling. I had 2 wrestling-related tapings this past week, which you guys will see in the future. Combat Wrestling Trivia, I taped a number 1 contenders 3-way match versus Hunter Chambliss and Alec Miller. You'll see that sometime in the future. And I taped my very first Chokeslam debate match against Eli McKeag, my good friend. We went at it, and I can't wait for you guys to see that match as well whenever it drops in the coming weeks. But wrestling as a whole, it's been great all week. Raw was great. SmackDown was great. Tomorrow we got both Evolve's 10th anniversary, New Japan Pro Wrestling's B block section of the G1 Climax. Let's see here. Fight for the Fallen for AEW, and then on Sunday it's Extreme Rules. So there's going to be a lot of wrestling in my life in the next 48 hours.
Nice. So I guess it's kind of like your mecca of wrestling, if you will.
Yeah, tomorrow for sure I'm going to have like 4 different screens with 4 different programs going on at once. And in case, just let Chris have it.
Yep, there it is.
Because Nico didn't, so I will.
Under the bus I go, as it should be. So yeah. All right, that said, I just want to get into something right off the bat here, and you guys are going to get a real kick out of this. So, something very funny happened to me at work. Now, I work at a pizza place.
Domino's.
Yeah, I work for Domino's. It's not the most glamorous job, but to be fair, I make good
As long as
tips.
it pays.
Yeah, it pays, and the hours are actually very good. But something very funny happened. So one of the newest drivers who, look, he really is a sweet kid. He means well, but he's kind of a simpleton. He made a little bit of a fuck up as far as trying to take someone's order. Now, the person had asked for, Cinetwists, but literally, this is what the guy actually said. The guy, honest to God, said, "Hey, listen, do China sticks come with Parmesan on them?" And the manager's like, "Wait, I want you to say that sentence again, but I want you to say it real slowly. Do China sticks come with Parmesan on them?" As I'm being told the story, I'm like, are you fucking with me right now? This is something that you actually said. Do China sticks. China sticks. Okay, pizza is Italian. What in the actual fuck do you think that we're trying to put in an Asian-inspired product into Italian food, which is already Americanized? Like, I get it. America's a melting pot. We bastardize everything as far as our food goes, but...
Oh, that's not just America. Every country does that.
Well, yeah, of course. But China sticks?
That's just bad spelling.
Like,
It's
that's
autocorrect fucking up, I guess.
Apparently. The guy had a poor JTE moment.
Heck, JTE would be proud to make that mistake.
China sticks? Jesus.
I mean, it's the guy who said Guillermo del Toro and Triceratops stops, so...
And unless we forget his crowning achievement,
Jew Bear.
the Jew Bear.
I want to see JTE going up in any sort of trivia match with the Sean Connery from the SNL version of Jeopardy.
Oh my god!
No, was that Burt Reynolds who kept
Burt
screwing
Reynolds,
up?
yeah.
Okay, yeah, Burt Reynolds.
By the way, if JTE ever loses a bet against, if you ever bet with JTE on something, bet on if he loses, he needs to do a spelling bee. That's just the best thing ever. Make it so.
Make it so, number one.
Like seriously, challenge him to a schmo. Like if you're in the Schmoedown, challenge him to a Schmoedown, and say if you lose, you have to do a spelling bee.
And K Wolf types in the chat, China sticks coming soon to a PF Chang's near you. You know what? I would happily go to a PF Chang's if I knew I could get China sticks there. Okay. So yes, there's my ridiculous thing out of the way. And look, guys, I'm gonna level with you all here for just a hot second here. So there's some stuff that has happened in the world of Star Wars, like the Dave Bautista, Darth Bane rumors. I don't really want to talk about that. The Sith Trooper picture we saw, cool.
We have literally no thoughts on that.
Literally,
seriously, we were on Skype yesterday. Nico brought it up, and we were like, we have no thoughts on this because we don't know anything.
Exactly. So I got nothing to say on that. Andrew Manson, I see we have a new person in the chat. Everybody, make him feel welcome. I already see you're participating. Hey, man, thank you so much for checking us out. We hope you enjoy the show.
Indeed.
And and also the Christoph Waltz is back as Blofeld. I hate that twist, Inspector. And apparently he's teaming up with Bond in this one to take down Rami Malek. This instantly has me scared for Bond 25.
No, what should have you scared for Bond 25 is a few weeks ago there was a story about they were bringing back, I think, that black female villain for this movie,
Mayday.
and she walked off the set
Mayday.
after she realized she only had like minimal to no lines at all.
Grace Jones was on the set of Bond 25, but when they realized she had pretty much no dialogue, she walked off the set.
Which I found hilarious.
Honest to God, why would you bring back Mayday? She was in a terrible Bond movie.
Yeah. And granted, she was hot as hell in that movie. But she was...
Yeah, it's just that Roger Moore was way too old at that point.
Dude was like 55 when he made that movie. Just a little too old to be sleeping with a...
He was over twice the age of the Bond girl, which is just
gross.
He could have been her dad. Like, no.
Or hell, as Indiana Jones once said, for God's sakes, you could have been her grandfather.
Okay, that's a little too much, but yeah, kind of.
All right. Well, I think we've rambled about some crap long enough. Let's actually get in some movie news before we get into our main topic. Starting off, unfortunately, on a little bit of a down note, comedic legend Rip Torn, who literally the dude's had like a 60-year-long career. He's been in so many things, but of course, people our age, we would know him best for being the voice of Zeus in Hercules. He was the coach in Dodgeball. He was Agent Zed in the first two Men in Black films. And, oh shit, he was also the dad in Freddy Got Fingered. Ugh. Anyway, Rip Torn, hashtag Rip Torn. Thank you so much for everything you've done. And you know what, real quick, because Kees, I know that you're a huge fan of the first Man in Black.
The first, not the second.
But still, like you'd say he was one of the best parts of that first movie.
Oh, he's great. I loved him in that movie, and I was thinking, like, why haven't I seen him in more? Well, to be fair, because he is in more older stuff that I haven't watched. Actually, until you brought up the point that he was Zeus in Hercules, which I think is just a fine Disney movie. Yeah, I haven't seen him in anything else, but he was great in Men in Black. So I will always remember him for that, because he was very memorable in that, and yeah, he will be missed.
Absolutely. Nico, you have seen Dodgeball, right?
Yes, and I had no idea that was Rip Torn as the coach in that movie, because didn't really pay that much attention to the actors list at that time. Like, just recently I found out, the pirate was Alan Tudyk? Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
So, there are a lot of actors who I haven't put two and two together from this movie, and I'm about to make myself sound even dumber when I say, I honestly thought Rip Torn had died a lot sooner than yesterday, because he wasn't in Men in Black 3. It just never occurred to me that, like, he just wanted out of the franchise, so he took it out. I thought, like, the reason why he's not here is because he died for real, so they killed him off in the franchise too. So, my bad. But the main thing that's always interested me about Rip Torn is that he has the name Rip Torn.
Fair enough. Yeah, because I believe his full name... Oh, Jesus. I actually did look this up earlier today, and I've already forgotten. There we go. Elmore Rual Rip Torn Jr. That's his, like, full name, and it's...
I can understand why you went by Rip Torn.
Yeah, because, let's face facts, you're not going to get far going by the name of Elmore anywhere.
No.
You know, but yeah, as I said, he's a legend. He will be missed. And, yeah, thanks for all you've done, man. We really appreciate you. And yes, if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. And if I find myself dodging out of the theater for when I see Mulan, yeah. Let's talk about that teaser. In case you and I did a little bit of a breakdown. We did a reaction to it. But, Nico, sadly, I missed Crisis on Earth Blacks this week.
It's okay. So did everyone else, and that's why we're getting canceled.
That's why you're getting canceled.
Oh, God.
Sorry, man.
Too soon, guys. Too soon. I didn't say anything, by the way. It was not me. It was you.
It was me. I take full responsibility. But Nico, talk to me about how this fucking badass trailer.
So one of the things we've been complaining about with the other live-action Disney movies is that they've been too similar to the original. And what I like about this one is it's trying is that I like that Mulan is trying some different stuff compared to the original cartoon. Like, they're not having everyone sing, but they're putting the music in the background as an homage. They don't have Mushu the Dragon, which to some that might be more of a minus than a plus, but it gets to test
that's not confirmed yet.
Well, we haven't seen Mushu in it yet.
No,
so
we don't see him in the trailer. That doesn't mean he's not in the movie.
But it has led to some people thinking, okay, we're getting a more realistic take on the original tale, because in as much as I would love it if it were real, dragons unfortunately don't currently roam the earth, nor do I think they roamed the earth when the Huns were invading. So sad for me, but I like that they're trying something different. And also, we see Mulan as a female in a lot of the scenes in this trailer. So it makes me wonder, like, are we just not getting to see the scenes where she's disguised? Or does she have an androgynous enough look that she can portray a boy in her current state without having to go super crazy with the disguise? Or are they just going to go full female the entire movie? So it has me curious. This trailer has me curious for what we're going to get in the finished product, and that's what we should want. It's kind of like what we've been talking about with the Frozen 2 trailers that we've reacted to. We wanted to be we don't know a lot, and it's making us more intrigued for what we're going to get.
Fair enough. And
actually, I do want to say,
yeah,
I honestly don't think that the live-action adaptations we've gotten so far from Disney have been very similar. I think that a lot of them actually did stray away from the original story a little bit, and it seems that the only one so far is The Lion King, based on the reviews, and that's why it's not being reviewed as well. But yeah, Mulan is even more different. At least it seems like it. We'll see. Check out our reaction.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've actually gone back and watched it a couple more times, and there's just something so intriguing about how it looks, about the camera work, about the acting. Like, again, I'm very excited. And obviously, Kees and I go more full in depth. And now, Kees, did you have any other thoughts that we didn't get to from that teaser, or do you want to skip to the madhouse that we're going to get to in just a second?
Well, the one thing that I didn't mention in our reaction is indeed Mushu. He is not in the trailer. I don't know where he is. I don't know if we'll get him. I do hope so, because he was a good comic relief. Now, to be fair, you do have Eddie Murphy voicing him, and Eddie Murphy voicing animated characters that's usually a success. Look at Shrek. But yeah, I wonder if we'll see him. I do hope we'll see him. I hope that they at least keep that element, because, as I said, comic relief, it's important. Especially in a movie that is quite serious overall. But we'll see.
Okay. So with that, Kees, walk us through the madhouse that is known as the second trailer for Maleficent 2.
What the fuck was this?
I honestly don't know what to say about this. I really don't. I don't know what is coming out. When I saw by the way, if you go back to when the first teaser came out, remember I said I thought based on the thumbnail and the title, I thought it was a porn. I was like, did Disney just release a porn? Because it's called Mistress of Evil, and if you see the thumbnail, it's like, what the hell is happening? So yeah, that was my initial reaction. And now I see this trailer, and this is an actually fully fresh trailer that tries to tell us what this movie is going to be about, what the story is going to be. And based on this trailer, I still have absolutely no clue. There's so much shit that they throw at you, like visual effects and things, and honestly, what I said when I watched this trailer, this reminded me of Gods of Egypt, a movie that is so fucking convinced out of its mind that it's gonna be the most epic, insane thing ever, that it looks like garbage. It looks so bad. I don't know. I honestly don't know what the hell is going on with this movie. I will watch it with like a million beers and popcorn jamming in my face because otherwise I don't know if I'm going to survive this. Also, this is a sequel to a movie that was
Terrible.
No, okay. I didn't think it was terrible. I think that the first half of the movie had potential, and then it really went downhill in the third act, especially. But I did at least appreciate what they were trying to do. I don't know what this movie is even trying to do. I have no clue.
Nico, talk to me.
Okay, just finished writing something hilarious on my whiteboard. Coming soon to Disney Plus, Disney's first venture into porn. Your Winnie smells like poo.
Woo!
Oh!
Yeah!
Snap.
Ladies and gentlemen, take a picture of that and make that a shirt. Woo!
So when I saw this trailer, it made me realize that other than Aurora pricking her finger off of a wheel and being woken up by a kiss, I really have no idea what the mythos is behind Sleeping Beauty or Maleficent. And I never saw the first movie. I never saw the first movie, and now this is the second movie, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? Is she like the anti-fairy godmother, and like she's trying to stop a wedding and she tries to stop it at the rehearsal dinner that I don't think she was invited to, really, and but there's like a race of devil people now, and what is going on?
To give a little bit of context, like what the first Maleficent tried to do is like make the most interesting character from the original Sleeping Beauty, Maleficent, a fleshed out character. And a lot of people don't like it because of the fact that it strayed too much from the original. And now with this movie, they're trying to make her bad again. But I don't know. Sorry for interrupting.
No, by all means. Nico, continue.
I really don't have anything to add. I'm very
enough.
confused.
Then
I'm very confused, and I'm very curious as to what this will turn out to be.
It's gonna be a hot steaming pile of blah. Cause look, I have said on record many times that I do think that the original is quite terrible. I think that it was a bad idea to essentially make Maleficent's fall essentially be. To have her fall, be, like, why she went evil in the first place, be because she was essentially a rape victim, that's bad. That's just straight up bad. That is bad writing. That is bad execution. Even as talented an actress as Angelina Jolie is, could not pull that off. So I just have many problems with the first movie. Never mind the fact that it takes the three best characters, the three good fairies from the original, and just turns them into dull idiots. Yeah, fuck that noise too. But then I watched this trailer for the second one, and I'm like, okay, is there anything redeemable about that? Is there any way that this movie can redeem the events of the first one? And as soon as I saw Michelle Pfeiffer having a badass moment where she's holding a crossbow, I'm like, okay, we're not taking this seriously at all.
Cool.
Great. But remember those problems with the first movie? We still have to address that shit. Oh, we're not going to? Okay. Yeah, never mind. This is going to be a dumpster fire. It's going to win all the Razzies. Fuck this movie.
So the people that criticize Rian Johnson for, in reference to The Last Jedi versus The Force Awakens, this is the actual criticisms at play here.
Yes.
There's legitimacy to these.
Yes.
I still don't get why they make a sequel to Maleficent.
I don't know.
Like, what's the thought behind that? Okay, I get it. Disney needs to make movies for the sake of making movies, but can they please, for the love of anything, focus on making good movies?
Disney has
That's
enough money. Disney has enough money that they could take a year off if they wanted to and just focus on
oh,
the
but they're
streaming
not
service
gonna.
that they just launched.
But
Focus
they're
on the
not.
streaming service you just launched and maybe take a break for.
Exactly. They could and they should, but they won't. So, god damn it. And yes, sorry, Nico. Cool guy is 100% right. You did really screw the pooch on that on not going for Winnie and the Pooh Hole.
Could have also said something about nailing Eeyore, but that's.
Woo! All right then. Yeah. Speaking of gay couples, we wish we'd just get together already. Sherlock Holmes 3. Finally starting pre-production, and this time we don't have Guy Ritchie, sadly, but in his place, coming to the director's chair, we have Dexter Fletcher, aka the director of Rocketman and the unofficial director of Bohemian Rhapsody, filling in. And can I be honest? I'm not scared. Because Rocketman was a great movie. And I think Bohemian Rhapsody, while not worthy of all the Oscars it won, Rami Malek 100% just totally deserved his Oscar. But that said, I'm looking forward to this. Now, Kees, you've written down something. Let's see what you've written down.
No Richie, no Watchy.
Richie is the reason I like those two Sherlock Holmes movies. I haven't seen Rocketman. Bohemian Rhapsody was great though, but the question really is how much the director did there and how much was still Bryan Singer's. I don't know that. I'm not familiar with this director. But Richie is the reason that those first two are great, in my opinion, or at least very entertaining, because it's Richie's style, and I really like that. Let's see a trailer, but I think that there will be too much of a disconnect because of the fact that Richie is not directing this, and this director can either do two things: do his own thing, which will definitely be not Richie, or try to do Richie, which will still not be Richie. So I have doubts. I have serious doubts.
That's fair. But I mean, let's say we get a good trailer. I take it you'll still give the movie a shot.
Sure.
Okay. Nico?
I really need to watch the first two Sherlock Holmes movies.
Do.
Yes, you should. They're good movies.
I still haven't gotten to them. Having said that, Bohemian Rhapsody was one of my favorite movies of last year. It was really fun. It was really fun. Haven't gotten to Rocketman yet, but I feel like I'm definitely going to have a good time when I see that movie finally as well. Mm-hmm. So if the guy who made those movies is making Sherlock Holmes 3, then I have a feeling I will also enjoy Sherlock Holmes 3.
All right. And yeah, look, as I said when I was asking Kees, as soon as I see a trailer, I will have a definitive answer on where my excitement will be, because I like what this guy is doing, but to be fair, we are very accustomed to what Guy Ritchie did in those first two films, and he kicked ass. So we just have to see how he's going to approach it. Now, what I'd like Dexter Fletcher to do is keep the aesthetic the exact same as Guy Ritchie was going for, but maybe see if there are just some little details that he can throw in to sort of make it a little bit more of his own, if that makes sense.
That does make sense.
But then with that, Kees, you like David Fincher?
Nah. God, of course. He's one of my favorite directors.
And you actually quite like Citizen Kane, right?
I did like it quite a lot. Yeah, I didn't expect to, really.
Now, let me pitch you something here. David Fincher's father writes a screenplay. Unfortunately, his father passed away in 2003, but he still held on to that same exact screenplay for almost 20 years now. David Fincher decides, you know what? I'm going to go back to making movies, and I'm going to make this screenplay, which is a biopic about the guy who co-wrote Citizen Kane. And I want to cast Gary Oldman in the main role. Go.
David Fincher is returning to directing. For fuck's sakes, finally. It has been 5 years since Gone Girl, which is a fucking phenomenal movie. He did The Social Network, which is my favorite. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. By the way, my excitement is nothing compared to my girlfriend's excitement, whose favorite director is David Fincher, and who has The Social Network, Fight Club, and Gone Girl in her top 10 favorite movies of all time, because they're fucking phenomenal. This guy can direct so fucking good. Let's forget Alien 3, because that wasn't entirely him. That was studio interference. But other than that, he has been on a roll. He is one of the best working directors today that is still actually working. We need to be reminded of that with this news story, because honestly, like, for 5 years, I've been just waiting. What is your next movie? You are such a great director. Oh, by the way, he also did Go with the Dragon Tattoo in 2011. Anyway, but the guy is such a good director, and he can turn essentially anything into an interesting movie. Like, even the ones that I didn't like as much, like Benjamin Button or Go with the Dragon Tattoo, like I just mentioned, are still good movies, are still well directed. And like Citizen Kane, as I said, it is a great movie. It is one that I actually watched. A black and white classic. Yeah, that's really out of my wheelhouse. But everyone was saying it is the Citizen Kane of movies. Why? Because Citizen Kane is the Citizen Kane of movies. It's like one of the greatest. It's like one of the greatest movies of all time. And then Scott Mans keeps saying it's the Citizen Kane of movies. Yeah. So I had to watch it at one point. And yeah, it is a pretty good movie that I think did a lot if you consider what it did for cinema. So if David Fincher does something like, yes, I will be there opening day. I will see this with my girlfriend, by the way, who is like through the roof about this news. Just, fucking finally. It's been fucking 5 years.
Now, Nico, I'm going to assume you're not as excited as this.
He hasn't seen a single Fincher movie.
But I am interested because it's about one of the writers of Citizen Kane, which is a movie that I have actually seen and do actually enjoy. I've seen it once, so I don't know how I'd feel about it if I rewatched it. But the one time I did see it, I did actually like it. And, you know, when you think about movies that are about the making of other movies, like The Disaster Artist in reference to The Room, getting a movie like this about Citizen Kane, which is actually a good movie that required a lot of political knowledge to tell the story properly, I want to know about that writer. I want to know what was his motivations for making it, what was his motivations for making characters one way versus another way, and I'm intrigued. So this is a movie I probably will watch. That doesn't mean I'm going to get on the David Fincher hype train with you guys, but I want to see how this turns out.
$5 says Kees is writing "You suck" on his whiteboard right now.
No. To quote Harrison Sindula, "Well, get on it."
There's a throwback for you. So to give my sum up of my thoughts, of course I'm excited. I really haven't seen that many Fincher films that I wasn't excited by. I mean, sure, am I as high as everyone else on The Social Network? No, but is it still a great fucking movie? Yeah. Am I as high with everyone on Fight Club? No, but is it still a great fucking movie? Yeah. Am I as high as everyone else on? Well, okay,
Gone Girl?
I was just saying. No, actually, I do quite love Gone Girl. Girl with Dragon Tattoo. Not really, but still a really good movie.
It's good. It's one of his weaker ones, but it's good.
Yeah, but it's like, but here's the thing: bad Fincher's like bad Tarantino. It's still really good.
It's like bad pizza. It's still good.
Yeah, pretty much. You know,
I want pizza now.
And well, here, come on over to my place. I got plenty of it.
He can deliver it to you.
I could if I wanted to.
Can I also get some China sticks?
Yes! All right. Anyway.
What was that laugh?
I don't know either.
That was a laugh, I guess.
That apparently that was me trying to do a bad Joker laugh. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen.
A terrible Joker laugh.
But yeah, I mean, look, I'm excited for this because I love David Fincher. I love Gary Oldman. He's honest to God one of my favorite actors working today. And
hasn't won enough Oscars.
Nope, he's honestly should have started winning about 31 years ago. But the fact that he finally got his first one last fucking year is kind of an insult to him.
At least he got it, though.
At least he got it. You know, and yeah, Citizen Kane is one of the most important films in the history of cinema. So, yeah, I want to see this.
I mean, it truly is the Citizen Kane of movies.
It literally is. It's all that and an order of China sticks.
Yes.
Ladies and gents, we have found our running joke for the night. All right. Okay. Honestly, you know what? I think I'm just going to retell this episode. We're going to call it Who Cares About China Sticks Anyway?
I want to see the message we get from William Bibiani of like, why do you have us on the thumbnail, but then you have China sticks in the title? That makes no sense and is slightly racist.
Oh. Well, it's not as bad as Charlize Theron's hair in Fate of the Furious, am I right?
Yeah, that hair, little weird, yeah.
I was okay with it. It's better than her hair in The Huntsman Winter's War.
Touche. But yes, forgive my bad segue as we head on to our next story, which was apparently Charlize Theron, speaking of her, she and Helen Mirren are both coming back to the Fast and Furious franchise to appear in Fast and Furious 9.
If you've seen Fate of the Furious, that kind of makes sense.
I mean, yeah. Okay, look. You guys all know that I'm not a big fan of this franchise, so you two, talk it out. Talk it out. If you have any thoughts, get them out.
So I kind of forgot, actually, that Charlize Theron's character had escaped and survived at the end of Fate of the Furious. But yeah, Helen Mirren, she's the Shaw family's mom, so it makes sense that she'd appear. That also implies that at least one of the Shaw family members is going to also be in there with her. It all just depends on it all depends on who survives Hobbs and Shaw, which is coming out soon. John Cena is also in this movie. We know that from a few weeks ago. So
his name is John Cena.
So we don't really have a synopsis of what this movie is going to look like yet, and we're kind of like, as much as you and I love this franchise, I'm kind of wondering. Where else can they go? Like, do they go underwater next? Do they go in space next? Do they time travel? Shout out to the people who want the Transformers crossover. No, I don't want that at all.
Here's your synopsis.
Stupid, dumb, fun action movie. Okay.
That's what these movies are. There's nothing else to it. But that's why I like it.
I need a little bit more. I'm gonna watch the movie because I'm on board with the franchise now. I'm a fan of it now, so I'm gonna watch every other movie they make. I want a little more information.
Look, it doesn't matter what a Fast and Furious movie does. I will see it. Regardless, I've seen the worst one in the theaters, which was 4, in my opinion. So I'm gonna see it because it's a Fast and Furious movie. They're entertaining. You grab some popcorn, you grab a beer, and you have fun with it. And that's really all there is to this. The Does it make sense that they come back? Yes. Cool. Great actresses in a... What?
Brian, no.
What is going on? I'm not getting...
Brian Newsbaum, you are the best. So he says, spoiler alert, the villain of Fast 9 are the China Sticks Corporation.
Oh, God, yes. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Okay, from now on, every episode of this podcast is brought to you by China Sticks. China Sticks, when autocorrect doesn't know what cinnamon is.
Oh, God, yes.
Oh my God, yes. This is the greatest episode ever. Okay. Let's get through one more story and then hit the break so we can take a laugh break, finally. Okay. Last bit before we hit the break. So, I remember, a few months back I mentioned that there was a Saw reboot in the works, and Chris Rock would be attached to produce it, but now we've gotten some more information about some more of the cast and the director. So, first off, Darren Lynn Bousman, who directed Saw 2, 3, and 4. I think 2 is just as good as the original, and in my opinion, is my favorite in the entire franchise.
2? Interesting.
Oh, yeah. No, I love the story, I love the traps, and I also love the soundtrack, just a little bit more than the first one. And then we also have Chris Rock actually basically in the Donnie Wahlberg role, as well as having Samuel L. Jackson play his dad. Now, this would turn me off because Shaft kind of sucked badly. But at the same time, I'm morbidly curious to see what this can do. As far as what their new take on the story is gonna be. Now, Nico, you did mention that you had this crazy idea of what you think the new Saw movie should be, but hearing now, Chris Rock and Sam Jackson starring in the movie, and the director who's been around for the longest out of the franchise coming back, what are your thoughts?
I honestly don't remember what my original thought of what the new Saw movie should be.
No. See, your idea was there should be two Jigsaw killers trying to outdo each other.
Oh, I remember now. Well, now that we know who's going to be in it and what role they're playing, considering I don't know what the original franchise looked like, other than it was just a bunch of people in a bunch of traps trying to save themselves from an evil puppet man. I don't.
He likes to play a game.
Yeah,
he likes his games.
Yes, he does love his games. I don't. I'm still not sure what to expect here. And the Saw movies are probably horror movies that I could watch simply because it's not about the scare factor so much as it is the gore factor.
It's gore. You can watch him.
Oh yeah, easily.
I don't really have a take. Because I'm not that familiar with the original stuff, and I still don't know what Chris Rock plans to do to make this version different from the originals, of which I have not seen.
Although I'm sure a trailer could maybe change your mind once we get there.
Probably. Again, I'm just operating with too many unknowns right now.
Fair enough. Now, Kees, I'll actually throw a hypothetical to you. Once we get a trailer, and let's say it looks promising, doesn't necessarily look great, but it looks promising, would you want to check this out as a fan of the original line? No.
Nope. I have no interest in any more Saw movies because there hasn't been a good one since 2000. Okay, I'll give 6 credit. So 6. since 2009 then. But 3D was garbage, and Jigsaw was hella garbage. So yeah, I really have no interest in more Saw movies. They peaked with the original 3. After that, 4, 5, 6 are watchable. I like them, but then it really went downhill. So I have no interest in more Saw movies. Unless the reviews are raving about this one. But then again, there hasn't been a single Saw movie which is fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. So
which is bullshit.
Which is bullshit, because the first 3 are really good, actually.
Yes.
But yeah, no interest until something miraculously happens. We'll see.
Fair enough. Now, I do see we got that news a little bit quicker than I thought we would, and you know, I want to put this to you two, since you were also on the show with me. There was something I came across earlier this week that makes me kind of mad, and I don't know if we should break this down real fast before we hit the break or not. So I'll leave this up to you. So on Collider.com, guest author, excuse me, thank you. Guest author Drew Taylor did a quote-unquote definitive ranking of each Disney animated film.
I haven't seen the list.
No, well, that's what I was going to say, though. Like, we could essentially do like a quick live reaction for about 10 minutes or so before we hit the break. Would you guys want to do that?
Yes.
All right. Nico, you down?
Sure, why not?
All right, buckle in, ladies and gents. This is gonna be... God damn it, cool guy. All right. This is gonna be fun. And yes, the shades are on for a reason.
Oh dear.
For where some of these are ranked. Starting off, Chicken Little, number 57. I agree with that. That movie is terrible. It's arguably the worst film in Disney's canon. Up next, Fox and the Hound. Fuck you.
I've honestly never seen the Fox.
I don't remember.
I've seen trailers for it. I've seen trailers for it in other Disney movies that I've watched on VHS and DVD, but I never got around to this one.
Fair enough. I'll just say this. Yeah, The Fox and the Hound is kind of boring in the middle, but the ending actually is a really good ending. And the voice acting from Mickey Rooney and Kurt Russell is actually pretty solid. So, bite me.
So it shouldn't be the second worst.
No, it really shouldn't.
Okay.
Home on the Range, number 55. Yes, I agree with that.
Haven't seen it.
I saw that movie in theaters, and I think I was a kid at the time, and I enjoyed it at the time, but I honestly don't remember a single thing that happened in that movie. So obviously it didn't leave a lasting impression, and probably deserves the spot where it's at.
Right. Dinosaur, number 54. Screw
what?
you. That's...
What the fuck?
No, it should be way higher on the list.
Right?
Yes.
Way higher.
What the fuck?
Number 53, Bolt. Screw you. That movie's actually very underrated.
What the hell?
I'll agree to that.
I don't get this.
I feel like it's underrated, but doesn't deserve like a super higher placement.
No, I'm not saying anything like higher than number 40, but really? 53? Now get a load of this. Number 52, Oliver and Company.
Wow.
I don't remember it.
In fairness, I haven't seen it in a long time. So, but when I did see it last, I believe I was rewatching it a lot. So it was one of the great Disney movies of its time.
Yeah, now this one hurts me a lot because I adore this movie, even though it's not very good. The Black Cauldron at 51. Ouch.
Haven't seen it.
Okay, no, but to be fair, a lot of people don't like that movie.
And they're wrong, because John Hurt is fucking great as the Horned King. Saludos Amigos, number 50. That's a fair spot. I can agree to that. Three Caballeros at 49. Fair enough. I'll give you that. Meet the Robinsons at 48. Make Mine Music. Screw you. Screw you at number 47. That's a way better film than people give it credit for.
I honestly didn't even know this one existed.
Well, that's.
I only know it exists. That's it.
Yeah, it was one of the package films that was released like in aftermath of World War II, when they still didn't have the money to make like full films yet. Fun and Fancy Free 46. Melody Time at 45. Okay, Rescuers at 44. I think it could actually go a little bit lower. I genuinely think that.
Okay.
Aristocats at 43, lower.
Oh no, I like that movie.
I feel like it either belongs where it is, or you can put it maybe 1 to 3 spots higher.
Fair enough.
I like the Euroscats a lot. It's childhood favorite.
I like 3 of the songs. That's about it for me at the moment, sadly.
Okay.
Oh, but this one hurts me. Robin Hood at 42. Screw you, man. That is
what the hell?
That is a top 25.
That's a good movie.
That's a great kids movie.
Okay, to be fair, the criticism is that they reuse animation, but it's like, but the story is good.
But the story is great.
So fuck you.
Yeah, so fuck you, exactly. Pocahontas at 41. Case, I know you like.
No.
I know you like it.
I love it.
I would personally put it around there, like not at the super bottom, but mid tier towards the bottom. I think that's fair. Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh from 1977 at 40. Yeah, that's fair.
I'd put it in the lower 30s, but for personal reasons.
oh my God! I was gonna say, Thrawn in the chat's having a heart attack, and I love this. Sorry, man. Fantasia 2000 at 39.
Lower. It's not that good.
Yeah, lower. Treasure Planet at 38. Higher.
I really need to see this movie again because it's been so long.
You do.
And yeah.
Oh, and speaking of underrated, here we go. The Rescuers Down Under. Higher. What the hell, people? Emperor's New Groove at 36.
Why is it this low? Why is it this low?
That's too low.
That's way too low. It's way too low.
Emperor's New Groove is so much fun.
Ugh, good God. Sword in the Stone 35. Okay, I do like that
fair.
movie, but lower.
I don't like that movie. That should be lower even.
Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. Again, I like this one, but lower because it's a package film.
It shouldn't be higher than Emperor's New Groove. That is for sure.
Especially when you consider that Brother Bear is at fucking 33.
What the fuck?
I actually like this movie. I like the soundtrack. So if you were to go lower, I would probably go like maybe 3 to 5 spots lower, but that's about as far as I would go.
Oh, I can't stand it. I can't stand Brother Bear. And because of the soundtrack. I'm sorry. Phil Collins just does not work with Disney, in my opinion. Sorry.
Tarzan.
It doesn't work for me.
Okay.
How dare you, sir?
That's
I
for
know.
incorrect opinion.
All right, next one. Tangled at 32.
Higher. Much higher.
Atlantis at 31.
Are you fucking kidding me? That's a great movie.
It's really good. I'd put it a little higher. Not too much higher, but a little higher.
Agreed.
Wreck-It Ralph at 30.
That's fair.
That's fair.
Wreck-It Ralph, not that good.
Maybe like 1 spot higher.
Oh my God. Alice in Wonderland at 29. Okay, people, you are on drugs.
I'm not the biggest fan of Alice in Wonderland, so I'm okay with this.
I adore it. Oh, okay, Case, get ready to say the word lower. Big Hero 6 at 28.
Leave it where it is.
Just leave it. I don't care.
Fine, for me, lower.
I should rewatch it again. I do, but
Yeah, I suppose that is a fair point. 27, we've got Tarzan.
that's fair.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Now, Case, get ready to say the word higher. 26, Zootopia.
Yo, what the fuck? No!
Higher.
This is top 5. Are you fucking kidding me?
This is top 5.
Oh, this is top 5. This won Best Animated Feature in a year that was stacked with animated features. Are you fucking kidding me? This is a great movie.
Yeah.
What the
Right?
hell?
Oh, yeah. No. And I'm glad you guys in the chat are playing along and having fun. 25, Hercules. Lower. Dear God, lower.
It should not be higher than Tarzan, Zootopia, or Emperor's New
Zootopia,
Groove.
for fuck's sakes. Oh.
I'm fine with the placement, but in reference to the others on the list that are way better than it, there are definitely other movies that should be higher than this if it's going to take this spot.
Yeah. Ralph Breaks the Internet, 24. a little lower respectively, but still a really good movie.
Movie should be higher. It is so
Fair enough. 23, The Great Mouse Detective.
lower.
Yeah, lower.
All right. I guess I'm the one saying it's about right. This hurts me. This hurts me. 22, Frozen.
Higher.
Yes. Higher.
Please.
What is wrong with you people?
I don't know what is wrong with this guy.
All right, 21, Cinderella.
That's about fair.
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay, let's think. It makes sense. It is a little dated, but it is like what it did at the time is good.
Exactly.
Again, I feel like either put this one lower or put certain other movies higher to justify the list.
Exactly. Number 20, Lilo and Stitch.
Lower.
I do like the movie, but yeah, lower.
I say leave it where it is.
Number 19, Aladdin.
Higher. That's a great movie.
Leave it where it is.
I'll also say leave it where it is.
Higher.
For me, of this next one, lower, but I'm sure you guys are going to say if it's fine where it is. Number 18, The Little Mermaid.
I'm actually going to go lower.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Even though I like it more, but I'm okay with it.
Fair enough. And again, I like this one, but I would put it lower. Number 17, Lady and the Tramp.
Lower in reference to others. Lower in reference to other movies on the list.
Same thing. Broken record here. 16, 101 Dalmatians. I would put it lower, even though I really like it.
I like it, but lower.
Lower, but not too low.
Same. 15, Princess and the Frog. I would maybe kick it down 1 or 2 spots, but that's about it.
I would actually
put that lower.
I would keep it where it is, but I wish that Frozen and Tangled were above it.
Yes.
Yeah.
14, get ready to say the words lower, The Jungle Book.
Yeah, lower. That movie does not hold up that well. Songs are good.
Oh, yeah. Number 13, the 2011 Winnie the Pooh. And I do like it, but...
I haven't even seen it, but I don't think it deserves that.
Lower.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of a movie we just talked about the trailer for, number 12, Mulan. I think that's just right.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Keep it where it is. Keep it where it is.
I like the movie a lot.
Oh dear. Chris is going to have a field day with this next one as to why it's not number 1.
Well, okay, listen. Even I have to acknowledge, Hunchback is not the best movie ever made. At number 11, I think is a fair spot for it.
Dude, you should be ecstatic about that ranking.
I am very happy about that.
Seriously, Hunchback in my opinion, should be a lot lower because a lot of people don't really like it that much, like you do. So the fact that it's that high, you should be happy.
Yes, I am, because it's my personal number 2.
Yeah.
Number 10, Snow White. Okay, this is just this is the legacy thing, and that's the only reason I can respectfully go with it.
But lower.
I feel like you got to go lower based on the other princesses on the list here. Like,
fair enough. Number 9, Moana.
Belongs where it is.
That's fair. That's a great movie.
Great movie, but I would put a little lower, and I would put Zootopia over it.
Yes, definitely. Zootopia is better.
Number 8, Peter Pan.
That's
I
fair.
love this movie.
That's fair.
But lower.
Definitely lower than Moana.
Okay. You do need to realize the amount of Peter Pan remakes we've had because of this movie.
Yeah. And
so
this alone was probably the 10th remake, and we've had 20 more since.
Yeah. So. No, it's good.
Number 7, Lion King. Just fine where it is.
Look, it's a little too low for me because it's my favorite, but that's fair. At least in the top 10.
I'll say it belongs where it is, although I'm wondering people might think it should be a little lower simply because it was based off of an anime property or a Japanese property.
The Lion King is based off Hamlet.
Okay, the aesthetic of The Lion King was based off Kimba the White Lion. The story was based off Hamlet.
Yeah. Fair point. Okay.
By the way, Nico, a lot of people would say it should be higher. It should be the number one because a lot of people have The Lion King as their favorite, like myself.
Yeah.
Just saying.
And number 6, Dumbo. Okay.
What the fuck? Lower. Lower. This.
Yeah.
What the?
Yeah,
No,
lower.
Lower. I love that movie, but yeah, lower. Number 5, Beauty and the Beast.
That's fair.
That's fair.
Considering the Best Picture nom, it's not my favorite, but it's fair.
Yeah. Sorry,
I would say lower than The Lion King, but that doesn't really set it too low.
Yeah. I'd probably do the same.
Wow, number 4.
Bambi.
That's okay. Bambi holds up at least.
It holds up, but it's still a little high in my book. But number 3, we have Fantasia.
Okay, I am so happy that this movie is as highly rated as it is because I fucking adore this one.
Yes, and I completely agree with that spot. I genuinely don't think it's the technically best.
It's my second favorite
because it's not a movie. It's an experience.
Yeah, but it's a goddamn great experience.
It is.
It reinvented the movie score. So yeah,
it did. All right, and we have our number 2. Okay.
What the fuck?
I like the second half of this movie, but Sleeping Beauty.
Lower.
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Why is this the number 2? This is not that good of a movie.
Yeah.
Lower. Christ, what the fuck is wrong with this guy?
But now we get to number 1, and I do actually agree that I think it is the quote-unquote best Disney movie, even if it isn't my personal favorite. For number 1, Pinocchio.
It makes sense.
Because 80 years later, the animation looks like it was drawn yesterday.
I'm not sure how I feel about it. I'm conflicted on it.
I have to rewatch it. I haven't watched it since my childhood.
I'm conflicted on its placement on the list. I will recognize that it's a good movie aesthetically, in terms of plot and story, characters. Actually, I'm just making the argument as to why it should be number 1 now as I speak aloud. So I'll say it's justified.
And that's kind of my thing too, is that the impact it's had on cinema and the simple fact that it, inspired so many other films to hit that level in terms of how far can we push this style of animation. So yeah, and again, is Pinocchio my favorite? No, it's my number 3, but it's not my favorite. But I'm not gonna argue. So with that, guys, we're gonna take a short 5-minute break. And as soon as we get back, oh my God, yes, please, guys, hashtag China Sticks. Let's make this a thing. Please put that all over Twitter and Instagram and whatnot. I'm putting that to you. We'll see you back in 5 minutes. Get yourself some China Sticks while we wait. We'll see you shortly.
I'm gonna get some China Sticks.
Oh, dear God. Came on the same week that people were bitching about the U.S. women's soccer team celebrating too much after they pretty much shut out a team this week with 11-0. They were like, stop celebrating so much after goal 6. And I'm like, please stop telling people how to do things. And essentially, I want to say the same thing to these people who are complaining about how dare you cast someone that doesn't look like the cartoon for the live action version. Now, the people who just simply don't want change, they can go fuck themselves.
But what I also really appreciate, they don't hold back on showing, and I love how they're still being respectful to what was ancient Chinese traditions where, there were arranged marriages, but they're not trying to be like, oh, well, this is why this is stupid nowadays. No. They're just like, this is how it was. This is just what we're showing. Take it.
That's kind of what the original does as well. Like at the beginning of the movie, you get, of course, the opening scene is on the wall, but then you instantly get the song of the matchmaker, and it shows, very very traditional like arranged marriages, and you need to see a matchmaker, and she'll match you up with a guy. Of course, in the case of Mulan, that goes wrong because she's not the type of girl for that.
Let's talk about Mike and 11.
I know. Oh, so good. Some
Seriously,
of the
like,
funniest
this is
moments.
one of the best TV couples ever.
I would give you almost like, I say we should look at it this way too. Like, I say we look at it, that couple, and then also Lucas and Max. I think if you look at the four of those together, how like Lucas and
Max.
Oh my gosh, thank you. You just said it. Lucas and Mike are like together, like playing off of each other. Like Lucas is giving Mike crappy advice, and then Max is over here actually giving 11 good advice, and then just how like those play off, and then getting the scene where Max gets 11 to spy on the boys was comedy gold. Oh my goodness. Like just the disgust that she gets from seeing these boys like talk about her in that way, and then like farting and eating Doritos, and it was just like the most classic 14-year-old boy thing ever. And the way like those the way those two relationships, those four people worked off each other in those different scenes was really good. It was
I'm just interested to see these teams play in that tournament and to see how they evolve as teams. Oh, and of course, how the Looney Bin will actually be able to actually play the game. Because what they've shown today is they have a lot of knowledge, but the reason they lost was probably because they didn't play the game. They didn't use their repeats when they should have because they didn't know they had them.
And that's the same mistake that Top That made also. Like,
yes.
They were really good at the movie trivia aspect, but they didn't pay attention to how the game worked. They didn't realize John Rocca was strong in biopics. And in this case, the Looney Bin didn't realize they had repeats they could have used. Like, imagine what the score could have been like had they remembered that. Like, there were some things that Drew was struggling to remember, and had she remembered them and remembered to use the repeats, she might have gotten those questions right, and then we'd be talking about a whole different score.
Mike Kalinowski has tied the game. Sudden death, we go.
Cruiser Ninko?
Ninka.
And July 20th, San Diego Comic-Con, you're going to see the Inner Geekdom champion Rachel the Crusher Cushing. She will put that title on the line, and it will be against. And your winner, Mike the Killer Kalinowski.
Comic-Con, that's what the next defense is going to be. That's where we're going to be on the other side of that table getting that belt back. You know, I want that belt. That belt was supposed to be mine. It was mine. It was mine to begin with, and I lost it, and I'm going to take my belt back in front of all those people at Comic-Con. It's destiny.
The third battle between the Crusher and the Killer, it is going to be July 20th.
If he wants to lose for a fourth time to me, bring it.
July 20th, Saturday. You can get tickets right now at theshmoedownlive.com.
And welcome back to the second half of the Who Cares Anyway podcast. So, you know, we said this off camera that we're just waiting for someone to just make a crack. So, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to say it. What's the deal with China sticks? I mean, come on!
Are they actually sticks? Are they actually from China? What's the deal?
Yep. It's one of those nights, ladies and gentlemen, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So,
are we gonna have to pay royalties to that one employee from your pizza shop?
Oh no,
because
no, I'm stealing credit. I'm stealing the credit, motherfucker.
We better copyright this, trademark this real quick.
Yep, I'm going to. So there now, Nico. Now we have two shirts we can make. #understanding and #China sticks. All right. Now, for all the Schmoedown fans in the chat, you're probably wondering, oh my god, when are these three dorks going to stop talking about fucking China sticks and actually talk about the Schmoedown? Well, I'm glad you asked that,
fuck
man.
you.
Exactly.
And now it's trademarked.
Exactly. All right. But for real, though, as we have said many times throughout the history of this show and throughout our Schmoedown reactions, I think it's safe to say that Schmoedown Season 6 is the magic season. It is arguably the best season that we've had so far. And I think this first half has 100% proven that. And so what I want to do for the second half of the show is we are doing our top 5 Schmoedown matches of this current season so far. Now, today's match was not eligible as we had to prep this list a couple days in advance. So, sorry, guys. Although I'm not going to lie. The match between Zipper and Fouch would have probably been an honorable mention for me.
It was pretty great.
It was pretty damn good. So with that, here's how I think we're gonna do this. We're gonna go around to, let's say, Nico, then Kees, then to myself, where we're gonna do obviously one apiece. Just go through our 5 through 2, then we'll do a couple honorable mentions, then our number 1s, and we'll close out the show with that. So with that, Nico, take us away. Start us off with your number 5.
My number 5 is actually a very, very recent match. Just took place a few days ago, if I'm correct. I'm talking about the Loose Cannons taking on the Looney Bins.
Punt.
And the reason...
Actually, okay, so we never discussed if we were going to do punts, but should we do punts if we have overlap?
The thing is, I have it.
I guess.
Okay, then yeah. We will save it for the later conversation. We're top 10ing this bitch, baby. Then, Kees, get us started on your number 5.
Mike Kalinowski versus Kevin Smets.
That is my number 5.
I have that in my honorable mentions, so.
Okay.
Let's talk about it then.
Let's do it.
I mean, this match had been building up for a while. Ever since Kevin Smets joined Schmoedown this season, just dominating the Inner Geekdom League, just picking off poor competitors left and right who, look, Navarro was a champ once, but back when he was a champ, he cared, he studied, and now he's just out of it. That's the reason that he lost. But that just shows that Kevin Smets needed a real competitor, who was Mike Kalinowski, and they have been building that up on social media with videos, with tweets, in the Schmoedown with some cutscenes either before or after the matches, and then you get the actual match itself, and they go toe-to-toe up until the very end where they're 21-21, and Smets misses the question. Don't tell Harry. He said, don't tell Peter. He said that the lights got to him. And Mike did know the composer question of Star Trek, which is just bonkers. The way that match played out, and you saw the emotion on Mike's face, like, holy shit. It means a lot to him. And he knows that with Smets, he beat the best, or at least one of the best. So.
Exactly. And one of the reasons that I love the match as much as I do is the fact that it's not a perfect match, because first round they both only got it was only 7-6, something like that, or 6-5 at the end of round 1.
Yeah, it wasn't high scoring, but that's okay.
But that's the thing. It's because we'd had this thing built up for so long, and of course, all 3 of us were Team Smets because Kevin's a friend of the show, and we love talking to him and having him on. And I really do want to have him on some point after Comic-Con to really just talk more about when he's gonna go for that belt again, because he is still gonna be going for that belt real effing soon. Don't you worry.
The reason why it was on my honorable mentions is because of the fact that you just mentioned it wasn't a perfect match. And that's probably my own fault. We talked about on today's reaction. the setting of certain expectations for certain competitors, and maybe I had set the expectations so high because of the kind of streaks they were on. Kalinowski's been a beast in 3 different divisions, and Smets was on a 3-win, 3-knockout undefeated streak, the likes of which we hadn't really seen since Mara Kanopik went undefeated, and she wasn't even knocking that many people out. Smets was just showing that, like, he was the Bill Goldberg, essentially, of the Schmoedown's Inner Geekdom division. Like, he was beating people left and right in record time. And then this was the first match where he was actually facing someone of equal caliber, if not higher. But I think equal is a more appropriate term to use. And it just shows, like, the simplest brain fart can make the most gigantic difference, and that's what happened. We were that close to sudden death. We were that close to, I think, a 30-30 sudden death, or was it 25-25?
It would have been 26.
26. Yeah, because they both had 21 with their 5 remaining, and then it would have been 26-26, which, by the way, already is a points record. So Mike Kalinowski did set the points record for a 3-round Inner Geekdom fight. So yeah.
Yeah. And it was great.
It was phenomenal.
It was.
And so just like my final thing is that, like, the reason it's my number 5 also is because I found myself actually being really emotional for Mike as he was giving Smets that great bro hug, and you could clearly see he was really in tears. Because he had worked his ass off to get to that point. And look, guys, you know that, as far as my character goes, I can't ever stand the bad guys. I can't. Because I'm such a goody-goody two-shoes and whatnot, yada, yada, yada. But
are you, though?
But Mike Kalinowski is honestly one of my favorite people in this community. And seeing him take that big win, especially over the juggernaut that is Kevin Smets, that brought me nothing but joy. So, yeah. I loved it. All right. So now we're going to head to Nico for your number 4, since we punted your number 5.
My number 4 is another match that's kind of recent, but not as recent. I had a lot of personal investment in the players competing in this match. I'm talking about the Paddington 2 taking on the Time Machine. Now, I had been waiting since New York in January for the debut of the Time Machine, the pairing of Janine the Machine, who I am a gigantic fan of, and the former champ, Ethan Irwin. And I was beginning to wonder, was this pairing ever going to happen? Is Ethan Irwin's schedule just that packed that they can't get him back into the studio long enough for that match to happen? And thankfully, they were able to work it out. They got him in the studio, and they put him up against the Paddington 2. Now, I'm not as vocal about it, but I do have some personal investment in Matt Ashley and Alonso Duralte as well, because they were part of the What the Flick show on the Young Turks, of which I am a regular viewer of their news-based content. So it's some personal involvement there. Plus, I got to meet Gray Drake, who was Matt Ashley's former partner in L.A. about a year ago. And she put me I sent a video shout-out to Ashley with Gray in the picture, and then he replied back the very next day for that event. It took a few questions for Time Machine to find their footing, but when they finally did, they kept it very close, and it stayed close for the entirety of the match, going all the way to sudden death. And then the Time Machine pulls it out at the end with, I think, a score of, was it 32 to 31?
32.
I'm like Brooklyn veiling it today. 33-32, and you could see in the match that regardless of how much time they actually spent together physically and in person, the chemistry between Ethan and Janine was there. It was natural, and it's only going to grow with time, over time, as they continue teaming together. And I feel like they are a genuine to the Shire Wolves' reign.
Fair enough.
There are a lot of teams that could actually get there, I think.
There definitely are a lot, and that's actually one of the things that, like, as much as the Anarchy tournament pissed me off last year, I am glad that a lot of the teams that were formed then are actually showing their stripes now.
Yeah.
They're proving why they became a thing. And yeah, the Time Machine and Paddington 2 are both
Paddington 2 as well.
Are both great teams that I think have just as good of an opportunity to win the whole thing as anyone else does.
Yeah.
So with that, yeah, so I don't have that many more thoughts. It's just like, because it was just a great match. There's not really anything to say per se. But Kees?
By the way, one more thing.
Oh, sorry.
I love it every time Jay Washington just lets his clients say his catchphrase for him. It's so much fun because like you could tell that the further along Ethan has developed a relationship with Jay as the manager to client, like he's enjoying himself. He's having fun with the fact that Jay has that professional wrestling background and he likes to talk shit, and he's using it to fire himself up.
Yeah.
So yeah, just the chemistry with the Time Machine and with Jay Washington as their manager, I want to see more of it.
And there's only two things you can do about it, and that's nothing, and deal with it, damn it.
Thank you.
Of course. Kees, hit me with your number 4.
Oh, speaking of Ethan Irwin, he was in a very high-scoring triple threat #1 contender match with William the Beast Bibiani and John the Outlaw Roca, which was probably Bibbs' finest performance ever. Yeah. Bibbs scored the all-time points record in that match, and that's the thing. Whenever a points record is scored, that means that there's another competitor that pushes that competitor to score a points record, which in this case was Ethan Irwin. Roca, not as on his game, but Roca's Roca. He's always good at least. And I love this match. This match was great. All these three big singles competitors together in a triple threat #1 contender match to duke out who can face Dan Murrell. And still, despite Bibiani being so good in this match, unfortunately he wasn't able to get the belt, but this match was just crazy. And it had also been building up because all these competitors had history with each other. Like Bibbs versus Roca. Roca took the title away from Bibbs last year. So to already have them back in the match again this year and no less than a #1 contender match, Bibbs took revenge on Roca. I'm not sure if they faced Irwin, though.
But Irwin, but right when Roca got the belt, Irwin took it from him.
That's true, yes.
By TKO, nonetheless.
Exactly. So that just shows that there was some history there, and they all really wanted it, and just Bibbs had just the best game that he could possibly have. So that's my number 4. And
I can't remember who Bibbs beat to get into the triple threat match, but
Lon Harris.
Oh right, he did beat Lon Harris. But I remember that in the lead up to this triple threat, starting with his post-match interview from when he beat Lon Harris, that was when we saw Bibbs slowly turn into the Deadpool-like character that constantly breaks the fourth wall that we love today. Because who comes in immediately after Bibbs is having his post-match interview? In comes Jay Washington because Ethan Irwin is already scheduled for that upcoming triple threat, so he's got to hype up the match by hyping up his guy. And the first thing Bibbs says is, "Oh, Jay Washington, I don't think we've had a scene yet together. This is awesome." And he's fanboying. And then the further along we get into the build-up, we're making a lot of three-way jokes, it's just adding to it more and more. And then in round 3 of the match, what does Bibbs do? He picks his numbers based on the scores that he and his opponents have in the match. And you just hear the crowd burst out laughing in the background. And it's we would not have the Bibbs we have today that's working with the kid and having so many hilarious cutscenes if not for him qualifying for that triple threat match and him getting to explore his new character that likes to constantly break the fourth wall in a Deadpool-esque manner.
He doesn't break the fourth wall, but he is at least very meta about it, and that's great.
Exactly, and that's why we love him. And speaking of Irwin, who still had a great performance in that match overall, he just has not had the most luck in this first half of the year, minus Time Machine, because at my number 4 is Dan Murrell pitching a fucking perfect game in New York.
Punt.
Okay,
Punt.
we are punting. So now, Nico, give your number 3.
My number 3. We have champion versus champion, a rematch in not one but 2 different divisions. Mike Kalinowski putting the Inner Geekdom title on the line against reigning co-teams champion Rachel Cushing.
All aboard the Punt Express.
All aboard the Punt Express.
All right, Kees, what's your number 3?
Well, this is a punt from earlier. Loose Cannons versus Looney Bin.
Okay.
I honestly didn't expect this match to be as great as it was, but this was, for us, at face value, this was Paul Oyama making his debut in the Team Schmoedown with, now a new teammate. And we already knew that he was a very good team player because he was champion in 2 different team divisions with 2 different partners, showing that he can work very well just with about anyone. And that's what he essentially needs, because he himself is a great player, but he just needs, just another player who knows his trivia, and Zipper is that player for him. But out of fucking nowhere, Tom comes in. I still don't know who the guy is, but
no one does.
He was entertaining as hell on the mic, and second of all, he answered so much shit that you were like, how does this guy know so much? And heck, they almost won, which is crazy, especially considering Paul has lost 1 team match, I believe, in his entire career. And yes, I did that. Yay.
Oh, wait, sorry. We're not allowed to talk about that on this show?
Not on the reactions. On the show, that's fine. And yes, bragging rights.
The reason why I put this match on my list was for 2 reasons. One, the character work by all parties involved. You already have Kaiser doing his usual shtick of hamming it up with verbal jabs, and he threw in the clipboard to boot to make things more interesting. He's getting into the prop comedy now. Paul being snarky as always, as is his character is meant to do. And Eric Zipper, he's getting more comfortable with every match of being part of the dungeon and being a little more heelish as a result of being part of the dungeon. So he's embracing that role. And then you throw in this random guy named Tom who looks like Igor, and you have Video Drew Grant dressed as Wednesday Addams. And they're playing up the fact that they weren't allowed to leave the house ever as a child, and so they would just sneak out to other people's houses and watch movies on their TVs, which is hilarious. They built themselves up so well in terms of the character development before the match, in the match, and after the match. Brilliantly done by all. The second reason why I have this match on my list is because this is probably the highest scoring round 1 in a teams match in 2 seasons. Because if I'm correct, you said that the only teams match that had a better round 1 by all parties involved was top 10 versus top that.
18.
And that was back in season 4.
Yeah.
So in 2 seasons.
Season 5.
It was
literally the first match of season 5.
It was one of the first team matches of last year, because that one decided who would face the Patriots at that time, and that cost top 10 Patriots 3, which again KO.
But still, we haven't seen a performance like that in a teams match in the first round.
Especially not by 2 teams who are completely new.
Like, if you wanted to have a breakout performance, and make yourselves a known threat in your very first match, this was the perfect match to do that, and both teams did exactly that. And I want to see more of both teams. Loose cannons because of gameplay, but loony bins because of character. Because let's face it, anything the Wildberries have done in one match, the loony bins put all of that to shame. They are the best new characters the Schmoedown has produced this season, and I just want to see them in everything now.
I also want to say that the Looney Bin, I cannot wait to see them actually getting to terms with how the game works, because that's what I think did them in and got them the loss. But if they are aware of how to use the repeats and stuff like that and really get to play the game as well as just knowing the stuff, then they'll be a threat. And considering that they almost took down, well, who's now currently the number one contender, I think they have a very good shot of getting very far in that team's tourney, maybe even winning it, considering the knowledge that they have.
Sorry.
Also,
Somebody was talking as they drove by.
Also, please, Tom in singles.
Oh my God, yes, dude. Tom is. I don't know.
Against Makuga. Make his punishment continue a little longer for throwing the belt.
Come on, we need to give Makuga a free win every now and again. Don't put him against someone who will smoke him in one round. Come on.
Especially because he's lost his last 5 singles matches, I believe.
Yeah, it is something like that, sadly.
He's lost a lot recently, so he needs an easy win.
He does need an easy win. I would.
Or he could just work harder in the studying process instead of drinking and going on yachts and golf courses all the time.
You don't know what the Wildberries are, do you?
Yeah, come on, man. That's not how it works. Like, the Wildberries work outside of logic and reasoning. Okay.
And that's fair enough.
They drink and they don't know
come on,
things.
Nico. They're supposed to be playing Republicans. You're welcome. All right. Okay. That's enough jokes for the moment. So that was Kees. That was your number 3.
My number 3. Yeah.
All right. Then I will hop into my number 3, which, when I first put my list together, I was originally going to say Scrimshaw versus Dohmen, but I just couldn't bring myself to actually do it. As great of a match as that is, because it is. It's a great effing match. But I wasn't as emotionally invested. Partially because, soured by the rest of the Chicago event. I know. We don't need to get into me talking about the slap. So anyway, I'm going with a more safe choice, that being critically acclaimed versus the Shire Wolves. And here's the thing. It was pretty much a TKO because all the Shire Wolves had to do was answer their 2-pointer and they won the thing. But it was just a simple fact that I got to see critically acclaimed fucking finally go for the damn belts, because I genuinely feel if they, if Late to the Party hadn't beaten them back in 2017, they very well could have taken the whole damn tournament. And they maybe could have been them take on the Patriots, and maybe they would have, beaten them. But who knows? It's those fun little what ifs I love to play in my head sometimes. And I guess now, because critically acclaimed is no more, #SadChris, I actually think this wasn't the worst match for them to end their legacy on. And that's the thing. Even on their other loss, it was still a great match that they were in when they fought Late to the Party.
Oh, that one was just glorious because of Chris Clark.
Yes, it was. I am so thankful every day I was on that Skype call.
Yeah.
But but anyway, I adore critically acclaimed, and of course because they're my second favorite podcast I listen to every single week. So yeah, bias. Don't care. Love the title match. Great match. All right.
I feel like, if I can just throw in some 2 cents.
Please.
I feel like had Critically Acclaimed won the match, then they likely wouldn't have broken up because, hey, you're the team's champs. You obviously can't break them up after them winning the titles like that. But the reason why we got the pre-match vignette that we did with Whitney trying to like intimidate the Shire Wolves in backstage, and then Bibbs is just like,
Bibbs.
I'm such a big fan of yours. I'm such a big fan of yours. That was the writing on the wall that if Critically Acclaimed did not win the match, then they were going to go in different directions. And that now here we are. Whitney's gone more to the dark side and is teaming with someone who has a stronger aura of I'm better, I'm superior than all of you. Whereas Bibbs is more like the people's champ now, and he's got a fan favorite in Brendan Meyer in his corner. Like, for all we know, those could be like that could be Bibbs and Brendan's first opponents is Whitney and Mark Hewitt, yeah, depending on the tournament seeding.
Critically acclaimed Civil War.
Depending on the seeding, but
Also, Nico, do you want to completely destroy Chris?
Yes, he does.
Yes, he does.
Yes, he does. He wants to completely destroy. I don't blame him because sometimes we're dicks to Nico, but, come on, man. Let's be fair, I'd fucking love it.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
It's just,
No.
I like Bibbs. I like Bibbs, but the team of Critically Acclaimed, I just struggled to kind of get on board with them. And the fact that they were facing the Shire Wolves, who a team that is one of my favorites in the Schmoedown, that didn't really help Critically Acclaimed's case. And then we have the issue of Bibbs not missing his name, but not realizing, I can just look down and watch for the buzzer to turn green. That whole debacle, like, it's just, I always felt like Critically Acclaimed, and I think I said this after Whitney lost to Dave Del Rio. Critically Acclaimed, or rather just Whitney, usually found a way to grasp defeat from the jaws of victory. And this was their last chance to prove me wrong, and sadly it didn't work out that way.
Fair enough. In case, did you have any thoughts on that match, or?
Not really. I had a big short list of matches that I was considering for my top 5. This wasn't one of them, so
Fair enough.
That's all I have to say. All
right. Now, Nico, number 2.
My number 2.
Don't take a shit, though.
Well, that's fine.
My number 2.
There you go. Jesus, took you a second.
My number 2. We are going to the very first match of this season. Chance Ellison versus Janine the Machine at the New York Live event on the undercard.
Yeah.
Like I said, first match of the season, first match of the first live event of the new year. You have 2 stars on the rise, 2 people that we're personally close to, and we kind of played a role in the hyping up of their rivalry versus each other. Like, we had them on the podcast where they talked about and we got
color.
Geeks of Color.
Yeah, yes, but we outside of that topic, we got them to do a little bit of trash talk with one another, and it was beautiful. And then you have like the actual antics of the match. You have Janine coming out ready for a fight, dressed for a fight, with the Rocky/Creed combo music in the background. She's high-fiving everyone through her boxing glove. Like, the crowd is just on her side, because she has won everyone over the year of hard work that she's put into this game, starting out as a heel and then slowly becoming a face just off of that hard work ethic. Then you have Chance in his traditional corruption garb of leather and sunglasses, and he flips me the bird on his way to the stage, which is great continuity for both the banter we had on the podcast, for the banter we've had in the fan leagues on social media, and just playing up to the fact that he is a heel here in the Schmoedown. And then you have Jay Washington, Ken Knapsack, and Mike Kalinowski throwing their 2 cents and putting on great managerial promos. And then round 1, round 2, round 3, just tons of intensity throughout. Like, round 1, I think the score was 8-7. might even have been 9-7. I can't remember for sure, but like the score was high for round one. So, and it just got progressively more intense as we got to round two, especially with Jay Washington's challenge, where it looked like his head was about to explode if Janine did not get the point. And he fought for Janine, and he got that point, and he won the challenge. And the crowd was like, the crowd is just getting like, ooh, is Jay gonna snap? Is Jay gonna snap? Like, and then you get to round three, where you have Chance stumbling on the Godfather question, but he recovers and then sends Janine to her 5-pointer. Now, if you were in the building like I was, you can look to the side of the room and you see Jay Washington pacing back and forth, back and forth. He's getting fired up for this final question. And when Mark Ellis says, in the category of comic book movies, he was celebrating. And then you hear him say, in X-Men Apocalypse, Jay just collapsed to the floor in depression. Well, I'm kind of using hyperbole, but he was basically like he nearly collapsed in depression because he knew this was not a strong movie for Janine, and I think the writing was on the wall for Jay, and he recovered well in the post-match promo for Janine, saying, "Hey, it's not a great movie, so we're all right losing on that question." But the crowd was still in favor. The crowd still showed love for Janine in defeat, and Chance now has the heel heat of being a guy who's now he's gotten his first win, and that only means he's going to get in more spots towards the title. So the crowd has more reasons to boo him. He's established himself as a credible threat, and she keeps winning the hearts and minds of the Schmoedown fans who doubted her for so damn long. This match was like the perfect combination of great gameplay, intense and passionate players, and story development for pretty much the rest of the season onward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was an awesome match. It really was.
It was a great match. Here's the thing. Nico literally said everything you could say about that match. So Case and I have no thoughts left to really give out.
No.
That said, Case,
I told you I took extensive notes before we started, so
you
I didn't
didn't have to, but I'm glad you did.
Hey,
all right.
sir.
And Case, talk to me about your number two.
So, this is not necessarily a match, but it was a huge event that I thoroughly loved, the free-for-all. I know it's a little weird to mention this among all the other matches, but what a goddamn event this was. Like, this created some stars. This really created some names, and it once again showed that William Bibiani is absolutely the king of the free-for-all. And I was still a little bummed that he didn't win, considering he was the first person to get announced. And then he gets to the final round, and then he loses it to, of course, the champion, Dan Murrow. And Dan Murrow even admitted that if the draw had been a little different, he might not have been in the same position. Also, it created, it showed how great Brendan Meyer actually was, because Brendan Meyer had recently had his match against Paul Oyama and didn't do too great. I mean, he did well, but he still lost. And this event showed that he's actually really good at just answering trivia. And he actually beat Paul Oyama because he was on the panel before Paul came on. Then Paul comes on, and Paul leaves, and Brendan is still there. And he was on for so long, doing so well. Also, just a couple of shock moments that big competitors went out early. Some competitors who just lasted long. Janine did very well. She was almost until the end as well. Jeff Snyder.
Final four. She was in the final four.
Exactly. Yeah. Jeff Snyder, who had never been in a free-for-all, did extremely well. JTE, top 3. It just shows,
Jew Bear.
The Jew Bear, yes, of course. Oh my God, how could I possibly forget that? Jesus. But it shows how unique of an event the free-for-all is, because something like the free-for-all, you don't get that at all anywhere else in the entire year, because it's just a very different type of play. Just all competitors come in at a random point, they randomly draw them, and you just see how well you do, and you can win a number one contender match or a title match with it. if you do well. Speaking of, Dan Murrell still has his title match, and I cannot wait to see when he plays it. Like if he plays it, of course, Founding Fathers will face Corruption next week. And then what if Founding Fathers lose again, which they did in the first match? Then Dan Murrell can be like, I will use it right now. Why not? I can have a title match. That's just the position he is in.
Or let's say the match with Paul doesn't go his way the way he wanted to. Then he's like, oh, let's just throw this down and do it again.
Instant rematch.
You also have to,
they can do that.
You also have to mention a few other things. We had the Schmoedown debut of
Jan Kemp.
Live. I was going to set that up as the big selling point there. I was going to start with Brett Sheridan, who's a Collider Live fan. And he
did so bad.
He did so bad, but everyone loved him for it anyway.
Yes.
And then like when I saw Jen Kemp on that stage, I was freaking out because she was part of my faction in the fan leagues for a long time, and to see her finally get called up to the big leagues, because she was one of the earlier champions of the earlier leagues and tournament champions, if you will, if that's fair.
No, well, yeah. She won There Will Be Trivia back in the day. This is true.
I was say,
and that's the thing.
All I'm thinking of is when she took third place in the original WWMT singles tournament, but that was 2 years ago.
Well, that's the thing. She got in there. Like, we really wanted her in that tournament because of the fact that she did so well in There Will Be Trivia. We were like, she's great. She knows a lot of trivia. We want her in. And then she's shown in several fan leagues, like back then Worldwide Movie Trivia, and There Will Be Trivia, and also in fact, I faced her in a number one contender match in Fandom. That just shows that she is also very good with that. So yeah.
And sadly, this wasn't the best performance for her. She's capable of so much. She's capable of so much more than this match showed. And I want to see her back. And I know that her job makes it difficult to schedule matches and make the trip to California, but I want to see her back on that stage at some point before the year is over and show what she is capable of as a competitor. And also, one more thing we're forgetting. The story of that 1 seat out of 5 where everyone kept getting eliminated repeatedly over and over and over again. Like there were these 4 lucky chairs, well, 3 and 1 not so lucky, but not so unlucky either. And then there was this 1 chair out of the 5 where everyone kept getting thrown away like garbage.
Yeah, pretty much. 'Cause, I mean, first it was Roca, then Bateman, then Guy, then, just... Yeah, Brett, and literally everyone got thrown out of that seat. It was kind of sad.
Before we change topic to a different match, how did you? I wasn't on the reaction, so I have to ask: how did you feel about Andrew Guy's overacting like an asshole when he was on stage?
And Andrew Guy does that.
He does that.
I like his character, so I enjoyed it, but
I'm used to it, so whatever. Plus, he was out in 1 round anyway, so it didn't really matter, luckily. But that said, now we're on me, and it's another selfish one. But this one, I think I'll put it this way: if one of the competitors actually hit the 5-pointer. I could truly justify it being my number 2 spot. Otherwise, look, I'm being selfish. It's Paul versus Chance. This is one of my favorite matches because, for me, there was the most personal stakes. Because I've beaten Chance and I've lost to Chance, but I've never beaten Paul in anything.
I have. Sorry.
I know. And the thing is, I'm actually, in hindsight, glad that Paul won because it validates all of his wins over me. Because
all his wins, period.
Well, yeah, of course. And look, that match completely validated the fan leagues.
Yeah.
Which is great. And, like I said, I am being rather selfish about it because what's the thing that I always have in the back of my mind, even if I don't ever really say it on the reactions because that'd be a real dick thing to say. Sometimes I do genuinely think I could have kicked the ass out of whoever was in these matches. But I don't usually say it because that's, again, a dick thing to say, especially when we're trying to promote this channel and grow it and whatnot. But yeah, I think it all the time. But this was one of the few matches where, you know what? If I was answering Chance's questions, I would have lost. If I was answering Paul's questions, I probably would have lost. So, yeah. It was an incredibly impressive match from two people that I, of course, hold nothing but respect for outside of the game. Because, yeah, of course, inside the game, we have to be assholes to each other and we have to talk shit and, do this little dance that we all love doing. But outside of it, and I would say this to both of them right now, and I hope to God this gets to both of them, that, seriously, guys, there's a reason you two got in. Because you two are two of the best. And, of course, there will come a day when I'll fucking finally, get my revenge on you, Paul. And when I'll finally settle that score with you, Chance. But until then, great fucking match, you two.
I just want...
Go ahead.
I want to say that I remember last year, in the span of about a week, I was there to co-host both the matches that crowned them champion. I was there for when Chance knocked out Luca Fallon at the end of the Worldwide Movie Trivia singles tournament, and then also for the team match where Paul and Michael Big Picture. There you go. Jesus. As Big Picture took down Luca as well, and Greg. I can't remember the team name right now. So that's the thing. I was
Killer
there.
Chemistry.
Killer Chemistry, exactly. I was there when they were both crowned champions, and at that point, it was 100% legit because we had just like a week before that really reinforced the rule of you need to show your hands on camera and show that you actually know your stuff instead of Googling, because we want to validate these fan leagues, and I really believe we did that. And then Chance gets the call up essentially after that. That's why he could never even defend his belt against anyone because he had already gotten the call up. And then we needed to readjust. And I remember putting the number one contender match together with Jake Marangoni, who had a very impressive showing in his first match, Thomas Eanes, and of course Paul Ayano, because we already knew he was a great competitor. So we put them all in there. Paul took care of business pretty easily and then went on to become the champion. And, of course, then we have the entire fandom league where he also became champion. And that just showed how great of a competitor Paul was. And that's the thing. I was part of that process. I have faced Paul twice in that team tournament. So it was just awesome to see those two guys who I have seen become champion, who I faced, who I fought, to be there in the Schmoedown fighting each other. That was just awesome. And they put up a great battle, and also very, very nice to see that in the Schmoedown, like if you actually compete in the Schmoedown, there's no way that you have a computer screen in front of you and you can Google stuff. That is them actually knowing their shit, and that's just awesome to see how far we have gotten with our fan leagues. So yeah, that was just. That's why it's just awesome that they had that match, and it was as great as it was.
This match happened at the perfect time in their Schmoedown careers because they had been teasing it since Paul came in, but they didn't want to go to it right away. They wanted to let them build themselves up against other people first, and then when it finally called for it, they finally met. So they had established themselves on the Schmoedown multiple times after having established themselves in the fan leagues. And I keep track of who has held gold in the fan leagues. And if there was a piece of gold to hold, they held it all. Chance had 3 titles with the potential for a 4th, and Paul held 5 titles. The sad thing was they never were able, well, except for Paul's Full Metal Team's title, none of those other titles really got defended. But
oh, and by the way, what a title defense!
Yes, yes. Like they showed why they got the call up. They showed why they were some of the best, if not the best, of us. And now they're representing us on the big stage. Chance has been on a little bit of a rocky streak lately, but there's still time left in the year for him to come back. And Paul is competing for a title match that has probably already been taped, but is going to be airing next Friday. So, everything we've done has been justified and legitimized by their accomplishments.
And it all came to a head in a great effing match.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And with that, Nico, talk about your number 1, and then I'll piggyback off it because it's my number 4.
Are we not doing honorable mentions?
Oh, that's right. Sorry. Well,
just
okay.
mention it. Just
mention. Just mention.
Okay, I had the free for all. I had KO versus Smets. I had both the first and second Shire Wolves versus Odd Couples matches. I had both Star Wars matches that have taken place this year. I have Who's the Boss versus the Odd Couple, mostly for what happened afterwards, but also the match was great. And finally, this one was probably the closest. This one was my very first honorable mention, and the only reason it is an honorable mention is because it didn't really count on anyone's records, and we haven't seen the effects of the end result yet. The Manager Bowl.
Fair enough. Kees?
You took a lot of mine. I had a big short list, and I deleted everything, so I didn't know what was, but I just came up with a couple of ones that I want to mention. We've talked about this. Murrow versus Irwin. Phenomenal title match, really.
Oh, we haven't yet.
Okay? Oh, whatever.
We're about to.
Okay, cool. Okay. Manageable. Like, it was essentially between the Manageable and the free-for-all, and I was like, free-for-all, but Manageable was pretty awesome. And Odd Couple versus Shy Wolves 1. Not 2. Because of personal bias.
Fair enough. For me, some honorable mentions include Shire Wolves versus Odd Couple 2 because of personal bias. Sorry. And then also the Jesus Christ. I can't even think. Oh, yeah, duh. Andrew Guy versus Ben Bateman because, again, selfish reasons. Loved watching Andrew just get the shit beaten out of him. The Star Wars title match was great. Loved that match. And, and of course, the Manager Bowl was another honorable mention because, God damn it, Randall Wallace. God effing damn it.
And now in a few days, Burnett will become...
I hate my life.
Seriously, just McWeeney's reaction after winning it and realizing, oh shit, I gave this guy power.
Oops. But now, Nico, talk about my number 4 and your number 1.
All right. My number 1. The defending champion, Ethan Big Time Irwin, taking on the former 2-time champion, Dangerous Dan Murrell, in a rematch from their Ultimate Schmoedown match from the year prior in the main event of New York for the Movie Trivia Schmoedown Championship. Now, as you heard from my number 2, the New York event and Season 6 were already off to a great start with Janine versus Chance, setting the tone for the season.
I believe there's some personal bias involved here.
But then this match upped the ante. I mean, you had Ethan, who was on a nearly undefeated warpath since last season. He beat Chance, he beat Dan, he beat Clark Wolf to win the Schmoedown tournament, and then he beat Roca for the title. So he was pretty much unstoppable right then and there. But you also have Dan, who after that lost to Ethan. He went on a warpath of his own. He beat Andraco and he beat Clark to secure the #1 contendership. And so you had like the unstoppable force meeting the immovable object in that main event. Like Ethan and Dan, they're already good without having to really put in any effort. But for this match, they put in a lot of effort, and it showed. And the crowd could see it. Because as we expected, both competitors played phenomenally. Ethan Irwin played a near-perfect game. And against anyone else, that would have got him the win. But Dan played an actual perfect game.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes, he played a fully perfect game to win the title for a record 3rd time. And the reason why this is my #1 is because I was in that crowd, and you heard that crowd chanting, "You deserve it. You deserve it." Like Daniel Bryan or Seth Rollins after having conquered the beasts of the authority to become world heavyweight champion. Like everyone was ecstatic about it, and you could see Dan, he was almost in tears from how much love the crowd was showing him in that moment. And the little cherry on top for me was that Jay Washington still found a way to spin it and make it a positive for his competitor in a loss, in that he sees that he's had 2 clients of his lose in singles competition, so he's like, I see Rachel over there. Shara Wolves, you got a challenge coming. And Time Machine, you saw with my #4 pick, they're a legitimate threat, and that was the first tease of what the Time Machine would become. So you already have – so, again, great match in it on its own. Then you have the crowd aspect of it making it that much better. You have the title changing hands to set a record, and you have the teasing of a new potential threat for another title in a different division. And this was the perfect way to start season 6 with my #2 and #1 picks.
Yeah. I don't even know what to say to that. Like, I don't think there's anything you really can add to that, because Merle gave his best performance ever. And sorry, go ahead.
It's also, if you see how Merle got back to it, because I know you hate it when I say this, Chris, but
yeah, the
Guy and Merle duked it out, and Guy TKO'd him, the first person to ever TKO Dan Merle. Why did that happen? Because Dan had ring rust, and Guy was really on the top of his game, where he was like, he had been playing a lot, studying a lot, so he was focused on it. That's why he won. And Dan was just there like, I'm not sure if I want this again. But then he got refocused. He studied again. To be fair, he did get TKO'd by Ethan in the singles tournament, but that was, as we said, Ethan on a warpath, where Merle was still not fully into it. But when he won that #1 contender match against Clark Wolf, that refocused him. He had a month to study, and just to see how that, because who mentioned it in the chat? The cool guy mentioned it. Like just that arc of where he restarted his career with a loss, but then got back to it and won the title. That's just fucking phenomenal.
It is. And, look, there's a reason that anybody who tries to say that Dan Merle is not the greatest Schmoedown player of all time, you are fucking kidding yourself.
Okay, he's one of.
One of two.
One of two.
And that's because of the fact that Merle hasn't won anything in other divisions. He's only won in singles. Now, to be fair, he has a good shot at getting team gold soon, but we'll get there when we get there.
All right, then there's my asterisk. If Dan gets if Dan gets the number one contender match and wins the belt and defends it at least once
in teams, then he's the greatest.
Then
Yes.
he's the greatest player of all time.
Yep.
Because then he'll have done even more than what Sam Levine, who is the number 2. Actually,
he wasn't my number 2.
No,
yeah,
he actually.
No,
Sorry,
Rachel is your number 2.
Rachel's my number 2. Sorry.
Because Rachel's up there as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So then with that, Case, let's talk about our number 1.
It's Mike Kalinowski versus Rachel Cushing.
Jesus fucking Christ.
It's the title match that we have all been craving for so long. Because unfortunately, Mara Knopik and Jason Inman had to drop out of Inner Geekdom. But that paved the way for Mike and Rachel to really get there on top of their game. And they have been, like, that's the thing. They faced off already years ago, and that was an okay match because neither of them was on top of their game. And if you've seen the road that they've went through since, in terms of studying and in terms of just the fact that they knew we are the 2 greatest Inner Geekdom players there are in the Schmoedown right now. There's no one even close right now, unless Robert Parker, of course, comes in, but we don't have Robert Parker because he would be the greatest. And of course now we have Kevin Smith as well.
As Smith's in the chat, yeah.
No, that's the thing.
It's true, though.
Kevin Smith will get there one day, but just the timing of Kalinowski Cushing 2 could not be more perfect because it is truly them at the top of their game, and you see it in the match. Like, despite the fact that Kalinowski had a little bit of a rough start, he came back, and he came back hard, and it went to fucking sudden death. They scored both 30-plus points. When does that ever happen? It doesn't. It doesn't ever happen that a person scores 30-plus points in a singles Inner Geekdom match. That's the thing. Like, in teams you can get there, but by yourself. Like, to be fair, in Inner Geekdom you have more points to scores with more questions, but still, you need to get there. And they got there, and it's like, wow. And the only reason Rachel lost is because Mike Kalinowski had Ninko instead of Ninka. Otherwise, that would have gone on.
Rachel won, you meant to say.
Yeah.
Yes, Rachel won. Yes, that's what I meant to say.
That's
but that's the only thing, like, because of the fact that he studied on Ninko and instead of Ninka, because otherwise we just would have gotten another question after that. And God knows how many more questions, because these two were really inseparable. They were really, truly 2 of the greats. Now, with Kevin Smets in the mix, we have a third one, but still, he still lost. I'm sorry, Kevin. I love you, but you still lost to Mike. And now we get Mike versus Rachel 3 next week, which is going to be even more insane. And I know I can't wait for that. But that's because of the fact that this match was just so great. And arguably the best Inner Geekdom match. Maybe the best match ever in Schmoedown history. I don't know. I'm saying a lot there, but at least the best Inner Geekdom match.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
bar none.
Go ahead.
No, please, Nico. Go ahead, so that way I can sort of start to wrap it up.
To use an MMA reference, this match is essentially the Schmoedown's version of Shogun Hua versus Dan Henderson. Like, you had one person leading for clearly leading for the first half of the match, and then there's a giant momentum shift in the second half. Then it's very even in the final round, and they now this is where the MMA reference ends because they went into overtime. There's no overtime in MMA usually, unless there's like a special stipulation for the match, but. They went into overtime, and then it just came down to, as you pointed out, Chris, one effing letter. And Rachel Cushing, with that one effing letter correct, cemented herself as one of the top 2 Schmoedown competitors of all time, being
top 3.
No, I'm gonna say top two. I'm gonna say
Who do
Dan-
you? What you don't include Dan or you don't include Sam?
I'm not including Sam.
But he is. So I think you're wrong.
Oh no, I'm saying even with
That-
Sam,
that-
she's still she's the number 2.
I would just include those 3. Let's just say top 3.
All right, fine.
Your personal bias is showing. But
No, it's not personal bias. Sam was a champion in both singles and teams at the same time and defended
both.
That's something that that Dan Murrow hasn't done, and that's something that also Rachel Cushing hasn't done. So
Yet.
you gotta respect
Until-
that at least.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, yet I
And
know.
now
but
if Rachel does, then I think she's
so
just that.
I honestly think your bias is showing a little bit that you don't include Sam. In all honesty, but might be just me.
Oh snap!
he started with a very rocky record, and so like
so did Rachel, lest we all forget.
So did Rachel, yeah. I mean, I just
she
said
lost
that
against Jeremy Johns.
I just said, Rachel
in a
faced
four-way.
Rachel faced Mike in not that great of an intergeekdom match the first time, but then came back. It's not how you start; it's how you come back. That's with Sam and Rachel the same case.
It's the journey you go on.
Yeah.
All right, my finishing point here.
Finally.
What made this match even more special was after Rachel wins, you see Clark celebrating with her. Rachel's nearly in tears, and then you get a little cameo from Christian Harloff's daughter, who we hear cheering for the majority of the match for Rachel. Like that just shows how powerful of a personality she is to the community, to the Schmoedown, that she has children and adults of all ages looking up to her as an idol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why the Schmoedown is going to succeed, and that's why it can only get bigger, because people are being inspired by this little sport.
Heck, we host a 2-hour show about it right now.
We host 2 times a week video reaction series about it.
Yeah.
So
Yes, we do.
For some reason we got copyright claims on.
Everyone did,
shit.
so-
A little behind the scenes there, but yeah, it's true. We haven't gained, and it's not just us either. It's a lot of the other big reactors. So, what the hell?
What gives?
What the hell? Anyway, one fucking letter.
Yeah.
One
fucking letter, and we
fucking
would have gotten another question.
letter. And that's literally what it had to take for this match to be over. Because this was Anakin versus Obi-Wan. This was
Luke versus Vader too, but sure.
I'm talking about fights that could have gone on way longer than they could have if there wasn't one little mistake that happened.
Okay.
That's the comparison I'm trying to make here. This was Kirk versus Khan. This, literally, this is one of the great rivalries of the Schmoedown. And it cemented itself with this match. And this was the moment when I had to truly stop giving Mike crap. Just because, yeah, I don't like the heels. Yeah, whatever, cool.
That's just a persona.
But it's just the persona. Because Jesus Christ, the level of knowledge he put on for that entire go-around, that was unlike anything I'd ever seen before in a Schmoedown match. Hell, even some of the great Inner Geekdom title matches, well, actually, there haven't been that many great Inner Geekdom title matches.
No.
Because,
Well,
Jason,
not when you have this one in existence. Like that one, this one just blows every single other one before it out of the water.
No, but I don't think any of the title matches went to the 5-corner or were that high scoring.
outside of, before Mara versus Mike. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, because Jason completely smoked Donica, and Mara handled Jason pretty handily.
Jason completely smoked Navarro first, then Donica, who I don't know where the hell he went, but yeah. And yeah, Mara took care of Jason easily. That's because Jason got a very tough question, though.
Oh, Navarro versus Johns went to the 5-pointers.
That's true.
That's true.
John's lost on his 5-pointer. That's true.
And actually, yeah, that final score would have been 31-29. Damn.
And the reason why Donica no longer competes is because he moved.
Ah, man, I miss him. But with that, look, I'll like if let's say we were to really top 10 this quick and do like a combine our list together. Of course, this would be our number 1 match.
I think so.
Because, and I think if you were to ask Schmoedown fans, either in person or across Twitter or wherever, if you were to ask what is the best match of the year so far, people are, I'd say a majority are going to say Kalinowski versus Cushing.
Or at least one of their favorites. One of the best.
With the other likely being Dan Merle versus Ethan Irwin.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the power of this entertainment that we get for free, even though sure, we support
it. We pay for it.
We do contribute to it because we believe in it and we love it.
And also because I've been following this for 5 years I kind of started in 2015 with a team tournament, but then I went back to watch the singles tournament. And for all these years, I've been loving the content and see how it evolved, been involved with it. I was very early in the game with joining the Movie Trivia Schmoedown Facebook page and helping that grow as an admin as well. So yeah, at one point when the Patreon option became available, and when I also was like, I have some money to spare for that, I want to do that because I want to support them. I want them to continue this because I love it.
Yeah.
And I want to see them expand into other mediums. I want to see the TV Trivia Schmoedown. I want to see the Sports Trivia Schmoedown. I obviously want to see the Wrestling Trivia Schmoedown.
Because you're going to be the champ.
Damn right I am.
I just have one question.
Yes! Bring the Schmoedown live to Amsterdam, baby.
Please.
And I got into the Patreon because, and I got into this community because as soon as I came across this game, I'm like, hey, I want to do this. And this was the game that finally got me started on YouTube. So I kind of owe it to always come back to it because it's done so much for me. And with that, I'm just going to simply say this. The first half has been great. Let's see what's the rest of this season with now the tournaments and Spectacular. How much are these going to kick our ass? Because they're going to kick our ass, and we're going to love every fucking second of it.
We're going to react to it all.
Considering both tournaments are 16 competitors / teams each.
Yes.
It's 2017 all over again.
What are the are we going to get like 4 matches a week?
No.
That would absolutely destroy me.
Yeah.
Seriously,
I still have scars.
Depending on the week, I might not even be available for that, so that's an issue. Yeah. I just hope that they have it paced out well.
Yeah, let's not do that again, please. That was too much.
That was rough.
It was. So, finally, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of the Who Cares Anyway podcast. We hope you enjoyed the shenanigans. We hope you enjoyed the conversation. Please, guys, make sure you remember to like, subscribe, and remember to hashtag out the show. Hashtag Who Cares Anyway. Hashtag China Sticks. You know you want to. And, Kees, where can the good folks find you online?
Talking for days on end with you guys about fucking China Sticks, apparently. Also, our Schmoedown reaction is going to be up after this because you still need to edit that, but we have shot it. And seriously, Zipper versus Fouch was a surprise. I did not expect that match to be as great. So check out that reaction as well as the number 1 contender match between the Founding Fathers versus Corruption next week. I cannot fucking wait for that rematch because that's been a long time coming. So yeah, a lot of good reactions coming up soon. Also with Collision, what am I saying? Comic-Con next week, which is also going to have 2 huge matches. And you can find me at Dutch Movie Guy on Twitter, Kees Cornelisse on Facebook and Letterboxd. And I don't have that many plugs, so that's about it.
All right, Nico.
Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, at Nico Suave Regoli, or just Nico Suave with 4 random meaningless numbers thrown in at the end on Discord. Combat Wrestling Trivia on Facebook, Combat Wrestling Network on YouTube. The poorly made Twitter handle is at Combat Wrestling, the number 2. There's no letter G. Rolling Crits on YouTube, at Rolling Crits on Instagram. We have 2 episodes up on our YouTube channel. Go check those out. Right here on Dedicated to Art or at D2A channel. I will be here for the Founding Fathers Corruption 2 match reaction. However, I will be doing solo reactions for this channel for Dan Merle versus Paul Oyama and for the Comic-Con stuff because I will be on vacation. Enjoy that. And Zadius Smith and I have 2 remaining episodes of Crisis on Earthplex over on Multiplex Entertainment. And then after that, unless Kane McMillan has something new for me to do, I'll just be managing and competing over there.
Indeed, as will I, as we still have our next match against Kings of Winter, and I will be making my debut against, or in the tournament against Malcolm Lay. Look, Malcolm.
Wait, Kings of Winter?
Yeah.
Fucking smoke those fuckers.
Oh, we shall. And
we shall.
enjoy
like
ourselves.
we did.
Exactly. And of course, you guys can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Stardust, Letterboxd, and Discord at Skywalker Dome. And you guys can follow this very channel on Twitter and Instagram at D2A channel. Please like our Facebook page. And stay tuned for more, because obviously next week with Comic-Con, we're going to be talking about a lot of the stuff coming out of there. And it's going to be a really fun time. And until then, guys, you know what to do. Take care!
Yeah!